Sorry, I was just running a little bit late. This is why I don't like it when other people are here. Most of the week, they leave me the hell alone. So, how are you tonight, Allison? Really? That's a surprise. I still bring this up. Well, not really. It's not really a surprise. Okay, let's do a conversion. We're going to turn Chris Jericho with the horrible black makeup on his face into Max from the comic book me and Allison have worked on. I need my other mouse. Okay. Bring up. Sometimes I hate this stupid thing. I still need to come up with a code name for him. All right. Well, first things first, dismantling. Because of his messed up knees, I'm going to be leaving the knee pads on. Welcome, Effie. Joined us on a good day. I need more light. Oh. Let's see if I can get this stupid paint off of him without completely destroying him. Yeah, it's nice to actually have somebody who's not just sitting there watching, but actually talking. So you're more than welcome. Hey, you guys can almost see what I'm seeing when I'm looking at this. Yeah, let's do what I was originally planning on doing. Okay. Avoid damaging him as much as possible. Not that I can't fix it. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen Chris Jericho, but he is kind of, you know, not that young, handsome guy he was when he started with the WWF so long ago. Hell, they still had Hulk Hogan when he joined. Not that I actually watch wrestling, I just know the background. Uh, I'm using Milliput. It's an epoxy clay that's two-part. But for this, I am trying to find an alternative. Because you may have noticed these. I'm going to be trying to do a little bit of realistic hair. I've done it before on figures. It's hard to do when you don't have the right stuff, and unfortunately, I don't have the right stuff. Okay, we'll take that off for right now. I would actually prefer green stuff, but it's hard to get a hold of that when you don't have any money. I mean, normally I'm more spoiled than I am right now. I don't have half the supplies that I normally have. Man, I forgot how hard it is to pull hair off of one of these guys. And you really, really don't want to cut the pieces up because it just makes it harder to get it off. Oh, look at that. I bent the hell out of that. Now, see if I can bring up. I'm trying to bring it up right now. Worst part is, I wish I had your voice on here, because that way you could read it while I'm focusing on this. All right. Since it says there's 3 of you, so we got a watcher. I'll explain the more what would be best to go about it. Me and Allison are currently working on a story that is more or less comic. Well, I can do it on the program, Allison, but I've still not figured out everything that I need to figure out on the program. So don't want to be trying to use it when I'm not sure how to use it properly, you know? There we go. I'm on. Man, I kind of hope somebody shows this to Chris Jericho. Me ripping his hair off. Oh, there we go. Finally. Where is my other spool? Hold on a second. I can't see the chat. Well, considering I'm about to give him real hair instead of that plastic shit, that goes in the we can use that later bucket. Okay. Mix of different colors. My scissors. Where are my scissors? There they are. Yeah, the reason I didn't answer you quicker earlier, Allison, is because I was in the process of looking for this at the time, and then it took me a bit to actually get the thing set up so you could send it off to Effie. I do the action figures always online, live. It's just easier to do multiple shows. I usually go about an hour, maybe 2, and then I do other stuff. I've tried to do a vehicle build on live, and it's getting too hard to do it. I mean, I got this far, and then I realized that I was doing more work off camera than I was doing on camera. So I figured I'd just start filming it off camera. I mean, off live. Run some black in that. Another darker brown. Well, thank you for subscribing. Anything's good to help. I don't know if I have donations set up on this or not, but if you ever have money that you want to throw at me, let me know, and I'll give you the Patreon. Patreon's going to probably be a good thing to be a member of anyways, because I'm planning on putting the stories that these characters are going to be in on there uncut. The free stories, I expect there to be stuff missing. Okay. Should have plenty of time with this stuff. I wouldn't be able to do this with green stuff. I'm going to have to refill this stuff before too much longer, too. Okay. Yeah. Also, check out my earlier videos. There's some really interesting things I built over the years. And ignore the Transformer stuff. I was on a Transformer kick trying to get on with those guys at the time. And then I realized that I really didn't want to be a part of their group. Okay. Here comes the fun part. I should have used yarn. Oh well. Next time I'll separate the hairs separately. Yes, I'm making hair, and it's your fault. Because if you hadn't sent me this stuff, I wouldn't have come up with using this to do that. I want to put his hair on before I start doing more of the other stuff. And we're going to see whether or not this works right. Come on. Break up. You know what? Hell with it. I just throw that over there. Looks like I need the black still. Why is it your fault, or why am I making hair? Because you sent me this stuff. Make his forehead a little bit lower. Actually, I should start from the back. Yes. All right. Yeah. If they'd actually put the numbers on them, you would have kept them. I know. A little bit quiet because this is taking a lot of my attention. I get the right ones. Oh, God, I chose the different colors. This is already starting to look better than what most of the ones I do. Oh. Well, uh, yeah. Thank you for the compliment. Uh, I actually now have it up. The character I'm working on is Maximilian Victor Creed. Uh, I don't really have a proper code name for him, but eventually I will. He's from my home state of Idaho, a little town called Houston, which is not really a town, it's a post office, and about 10 houses. Uh, he's his age is changing from time to time. I wrote him originally as 21, but I think that I'm gonna age him up to 24. And he's an augmented human mutant. His power is oratory, which is the semi psionic ability to understand what others are saying as well as have them understand him when he is only speaking English. But he can also learn others faster and cause other people to start understanding other languages in the same basic way his powers work. Get that shoved up in there. All right. Don't want his hair too long. So we're going to cut it off right about there. And then I do believe I'm going to have to add glue to this. I was hoping to avoid that, but uh, he also has animal senses, which are augmented. He has a healing factor, which is augmented to the point of being about the same as Wolverine's. He has a genetically altered bones that produce vibranium, which allows him to absorb and release kinetic energy. He also has the typical feral mutant high strength and agility. I don't know if you know anything about what the feral mutants of the Marvel Universe are like, but they're always quite a bit more active. Yeah, that's what I'm reading from right now is the character profile for him. For his personality, Max is a feral mutant, but hasn't drifted into the animal rage seen in most ferals. He is calm, polite, and often quiet. When his rage is touched, he stays calm and fights more with his head than with his animal rage, which is very unusual for a feral. I mean, even the character whose name was just Feral would fully let loose when she got her feral rage. He also, unlike other ferals, tries to avoid taking life and takes no pleasure in killing, but will kill without hesitation. Uh, Max was born in the small town of Houston, Idaho, to Jenna Miller, who had had an affair with Graydon Creed. So that makes him Sabretooth's grandson. Uh, the while they had the affair while they were both in college, uh, Creed wanted nothing to do with the pregnancy or the child after he was born, only giving him his name and a promise of money to keep the kid a secret and help raise him. She chose to live with her sister and brother-in-law until Max was born. At a young age, Max was sickly until he was around 5 years old when he began to heal faster than normal. Realizing her son was a mutant and knew his father was an anti-mutant activist, she left her son with her sister and acted like they were traveling around the world in hopes of protecting her son. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your kid is give them up. For a time, this worked until Max was around 12, when his true mutant powers manifested. First sign was that his grades suddenly improved overnight and he gained a large amount of popularity with other students in his school. When he was fully exposed, I think I'm going to have to change that to 13. When he was 13, he was fully exposed as a mutant when a one of his fellow students who was a longtime friend of his, was tried to kill himself because of bullying. Using his powers, he was able to save his friend and punish the bullies, bringing the ringleader to realize uh, he had done by living it what he had done by living it himself. He was also forced to save him from death at his own hands. So the bully tried to kill himself too. Uh, Unfortunately, this brought attention to him for the first time in his life, his father took notice of it. Knowing that he retain his couldn't retain his powers if it was found out he'd follow his power if it was found out he'd fathered a mutant as well as had a mutant parents himself. He sent trusted members of the Friends of Humanity, again, agents, to investigate. If it turned out that the boy was a mutant, to capture him, kidnap him, and make him disappear. Max's aunt and uncle came up with a plan to have Max's mother actually take him with her, but Max showed his powers again and was kidnapped by the Friends of Humanity and sold to AIM, who in turn began to experiment on him. Need a black hair in that pile. Okay. For 5 years, Max was little more than an AIM guinea pig. They augmented his natural human mutant abilities. His physical mutations were strengthened to the point where he could regrow limbs, smell something far further away than most humans. Yes, he's not very good at Taco Bell. I'm making it up. The only pre-existing character that's going to be in this story is Marrow. You should be able to watch me converting a figure to make her in the stream list, because I do believe that's still up. But she's pre-existing, and no, these are not real backgrounds. Anyways, He was now able to regrow limbs, smell things much further, hear sounds in the ultrasonic level. Once I get this stuff down, I am definitely going to stick glue on it. The only thing, okay. He can see in near total darkness. His sense of taste is also very high, to the point of being able to taste something in the air. He's also genetically altered to have his bones produce a strain of vibranium that strengthens his bones to near unbreakable levels and also allow him to absorb and store kinetic energy, which he can release in explosive bursts. Okay, scroll down. During this time, Max spent months in tubes or being taught in a school like setting. The first time he saw his father when he was in a tube. He woke up and learned that he knew all about all of what was happening to him. And he didn't care. Which, if you read X-Men, you know Graydon's that kind of a bastard. Hell, if you watch the cartoon series, you definitely know that. Okay. This led him to hate his father, which, what a surprise. Back over here. Uh, this led him to hate his father, and he grew to hate the head of the research group, though he actually liked the three people who were actually doing most of the work. He waited for the right time and made his move, breaking free, destroying the lab, but saving the three researchers who he'd come to like by but leaving them as guards to act, but leaving behind some guards and men that the man he blamed for all of this. For the next 3 years, Max lived in the wilderness of Idaho, avoiding people, hiding from whatever AIM would send after him. Get the feeling I'm going to be wasting some of this. Where was I? Oh yeah, that's going to be fun. All the guest appearances. Where am I? Always does this every time. Okay. Uh, he cleared his body of any tracking devices and found ways to hide in plain sight, only killing when he had no other choice. He learned to hunt what and to scrounge up what he could eat and not eat. He learned how to survive, but he also learned a lot more about his powers. He also made friends and enemies with wild animals and a group of Native Americans that lived in the area. It was an animal friend that showed him where to find something that would allow him to survive in the human world without having to work under the table or expose himself to AIM. Big old pile of gold. Near the end of the 3rd year, he began to work his way into civilization, which most people would consider to be a fool's errand. first trading. Then, once he realized that his uh, cat friend had led him to something, had led him to, had realized that the stuff that his cat friend had led him to was very valuable and worth selling. He had plenty of money to buy clothes, food, supplies to continue to live in the forest. But after a fight with a grizzly bear, he decided he needed to learn more about what he was and what had been done to him, and couldn't think it where he could go, where he could find help, and realized the only place he knew for sure he could find help was the help he needed was back east. After some preparation and saying goodbye to his friends, he headed east through the high mountains, and for the next few years, he traveled from town to town looking for someone who could help him learn about himself and what AIM had done to him. He took his time stopping in towns and cities and slowly worked his way east, often helping others who needed him, looking for people who could help him learn more. As he traveled, he found out that AIM was still hunting for him and that he could find he could find allies. After finding in it after being found in it after them finding him in an incident in Cleveland, he found his way to New York, where he was able to find the help in the form of Reed Richards and others who worked with him. And that's why I don't want to do the reading. But that's all I've got for his backstory. Well, that's written down. I've got a lot more in my head. But sometimes that's harder to pull out than reading off of a bit of paper. Thank you. Hopefully, somebody from Marvel will read it and think the same thing and decide to hire me and Allison and let us basically create it, turn it into a comic. I really wish I could bring the guys I tried to start working on comics with back when I was in high school with me on this one, but they all gave up and went on there and got lives. I didn't. All right. That works for me, Allison. But you're still going to end up having to do your monitor duty. There. I'm really liking the way that's looking. How well can you see that? I kind of wanted it to be darker than this, but it looks pretty good. Also wishing I had bubble gum. I'm going to have to put super glue on this to be able to keep the hair in there. Yeah, he's definitely gaining that saber tooth hair. A lot less blonde though. But this is kind of giving that Taylor Maine movie hair. Seems fitting to you using a pro wrestling figure to build a figure that is supposed to be the grandson of a guy who was played by a pro wrestler in the first X-Men movie. And the most recent X-Men movie, Deadpool. That was hilarious. Well, yeah, but that's not the reason I chose this particular figure. I mean, the basis of the idea of the whole story is basically a rock band that is made up of beings from different worlds and different uh, backgrounds all joining together. And who better than to be the lead singer, the figure that I used to make the lead singer of this rock band, than the lead singer of Fozzy. Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine is the most recent movie that Taylor Maine appeared as Sabretooth in. Although I will admit, the guy, even though he was wrong for the part because of his looks, the guy who was in X-Men Origins Wolverine played, say, the much more Victor Creed character than Taylor Maine did. Taylor Maine was playing the animalistic. This guy was playing the sociopath. No, Sir Sprinkles is not a mascot. Sir Sprinkles is a friend of the lead singer. And that is going to be so much fun. You guys are going to, I think you'll like watching me make Sir Sprinkles in his cat form because I'm going to do it out of clay, polymer clay. I will probably end up redoing this. What are you talking about? He is definitely more cattish. Okay. I do believe it's time to see. Need a little bit of glue. No, no. Dog was much, much more uh uh crazy. But as for him being the brother of Wolverine, yeah, that was totally pulled from Dog. Mental note, next time just use super glue over the top of this. Oh yeah, that's looking a lot better. I think the hair's getting pretty close to done. Oh no. I in the profile I don't even mention the brother, his brothers and sister, Melissa, Jackson, and uh, Oswald. I'm still considering also making him a grandchild of Wolverine, which would be really messed up. Oh yeah. I really wish that I could actually play the song that I did with AI. That's basically the first song of the band, but I can't wire it onto my system right now. Mm-hmm. Looks like I'm going to have to make another trip to the dollar store. Just make sure you don't mix that ammonia with bleach, buddy. All right, we're going to let that dry, but before I do some more trimming and other things, what do we think here? Girls, look good? Probably could use with some more long, but I'll probably be using that on. Yeah, I'm going to be using that as the channel theme, but it still will be included with the rest of the songs. All right. Now, let's get to sanding. Since I don't want to leave two ladies hanging. Oh, wow, there's 4 people on here for the first time ever. No, actually, apparently the program won't let me do it. Plus, apparently I have to be on the pro plan, otherwise I can't use my credits. From the way it looked last night, I'm gonna try again either tonight or tomorrow to do the song, but it will not recognize women, male, female on the explanation. It just tells me that it's yeah, that's not what we're supposed to be doing here, kind of thing. I really was hoping that duet would work, but it just wasn't going to happen. And since I got a bunch left over of this, I think we're going to do a little bit of work here because I need to cover up some of his muscle to make it look like he's actually wearing clothes. They block out my uh, comments again. Okay, I won't lose any mobility. Okay. Well, yeah, I have to do it every time I do this. Usually I'm multitasking when I'm not on here. All right. Go back to sanding. All right. Let's go over to this one. So, you got a topic for me, Allison? One time at camera doubles. Well, you know, one of them, coconut, because that literally would kill me. And I can't say gawk because I actually like gawk. I still don't know how that ex girlfriend of mine got that gawk to move. If you're wondering what gawk is, it's a uh, in the real world, it's a gelatin worm that is kind of meat flavored. It's kind of like ramen. It actually does taste like ramen. Quite delicious, actually. Uh, Gach